All right, welcome back to the Yard Dad. Today, I'm going to be showing you some of my soil mixes that I use for leveling and for soil amendments, patching bumpy spots, low spots, all that type of stuff. The area that I live in, we have a clay soil here that's slightly rocky. This soil mix and everything that I'll show you today, this is the right way to do it pretty much everywhere. I'm also going to put on the screen right now some facts about what we're working with today, and you can pause it and you can check all that out so you kind of know everything that we'll be doing. And yeah, just pause, take a look at that. Besides that, now you know everything you need to know about how I do my mixes and why it's important to avoid too much sand. Sand is not your friend, it's definitely your enemy. I see a lot of videos where people just top dress and they just throw sand all over their backyard or all over front yard, all over their lawns, all over everything. And I'm like, look, if you do that, it might work, but you're not a golf course and you don't have the drainage for it. So it might work for you for a couple seasons, but I'm telling you, I've seen yards where people are like, oh, we had our yard level, what's going on with my lawn? Like, why is my lawn messed up? And I'll be like, well, do you notice how your lawn's draining wrong, but the rest of your yard's draining right? You top dress with sand. The reason why you don't is just because of drainage. Over time too, it will compact more and more and more, and then you'll definitely have drainage problems. That can lead to foundation problems. It can lead to a bunch of different things happening. I just don't recommend sand, but now you know the leveling mixes and what to use. So I'm going to show you exactly some of the stuff that I use, because I actually do use quite a bit of different things. I got a couple of different things here. Let me get this compost spreader thing out of the way real quick. I use quite a bit of different things when I make my mixes, but I always keep the rule of thumb is I want 70 to 80% organic matter, and then the rest can be whatever. It can be soil amendments like biochar and humic DG. It can be this one, the humic acid in biochar, another one by the Andersons, Humachar, Dirt Booster, both really good soil amendments. I use these a lot. I'll go over those in just a second. The main components of what I use to make my mix is always going to be organic matter with a little bit of sand. And when I say sand, I mean you can use play sand as long as it's screened sand and there's not a bunch of pebbles and rocks in it. And if the sand is wet, I recommend that you take the sand, put it into a bucket, put it into a warm spot, make sure that it's dry when you're using it. Like this one right now, it's almost there, but if I would have poked a couple holes in this, it would have helped as well. But these things always come kind of wet. You just don't want to use a bunch of wet sand. We're mixing the product anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much, but let your sand dry out and it'll help you. The only other thing that I use, and I'm talking like I use like maybe 20% where I live. In some instances, you can use more, but primarily when I level, I'm only using about 20 to 30% sand or silica. Most of the time, I just use silica. I don't even use play sand anymore, but sometimes it's hard to come by where I live. So, you know, I get what I can get, but if I can get the silica, I usually go for that first. That just tends to work best for my area. I know that silica is used a lot, especially on golf courses. You never know, but I've read a lot of good stuff about it. A lot of universities have talked about it. There's a lot of good stuff out there about it. So I could put another card here if you want to pause and read about silica. Now you know about silica if you didn't know. Yeah, this is just topsoil, and this is typically the one that I always use. I get all of this at Lowe's or Home Depot. These ones I specifically got at Lowe's. I was there yesterday and I picked up topsoil. This one used for lawns, flower beds, vegetable gardens. Blended with compost, peat, and perlite, and it's ready to grow. All right, so I've been using this one. It's also OMRI listed as well, if you're looking for that organic use. This is the main thing that I use for organic material. This is usually my 80. They've been having a lot of wood chips lately, very small ones in it. So I picked up some different ones. I got this Topsoil Plus. This says custom blend of topsoil and composted steer manure. So this is probably a little bit better for gardening, but I will show you something about this Dirt Booster regarding that. But I also got some potting mix. You can get any type of potting mix you want. Somebody just commented about some Staw Green. I actually was trying to get that one, and the pallet was all messed up. And it was like bags were ripped open and then a storm had happened or something. But this one was the next best one that I could find. And same thing, this one's organic. That doesn't really matter. We're dealing with a lawn here. This is what I use to fix bare spots in the lawn. Like little spots, compacted spots. It could be dog pee spots. It could be anything like that. I'll show you an example of that here in a little bit. But that's what I use my potting mix for. And then I also use it for top dressing as well. It comes in very handy for that. And so does the silica. And when I say top dressing, I'm not talking about completely covering your lawn. That's more of a heavy top dress. That's a little bit different. I'm talking about just, running a bag or two over my lawn, each section. So here's another one, organic steer compost. Steer compost, composted hay and grain, composted forest products, clean and weed free. So this is another one. It could be good for mixing. We'll have to take a look at it. But this also very good for garden, if you're starting a compost for your garden. I think they have another one of these that it's an organic one and it comes with the alfalfa pellets in it or something like that already as well. And then mushroom compost. This one's kind of like my potting mix as well for fixing spots and then also for top dressing. This is another good one. The potting mix and the mushroom compost, really good if you're seeding and fixing bald spots, like little spots like this in your lawn, right? So we'll fix this in a little bit, and basically all I'll do is I'll kind of, and so you can see some of this peat and stuff that's just built up under thatch, and but we'll fix this and I'll show you what I mean by that with some seed that I use. I use Twin City seed, my favorite seed to use. They source their seed, I think, from a couple different places, but really, really good quality seed. I've been using them for seasons. Look how awesome the grass is looking back here. Check it out, right? And this is the Fireball Perennial Ryegrass. This stuff's looking awesome right now. Very, very good seed. So that's the seed I use. Somebody else was asking about that. I use Twin City seed. Stuff works fantastic. I've never had a problem with it. I've also used older seed that I've had sitting in the garage for a while, and the stuff, it works. It germinates. Matter of fact, check this out right here in my, I was lawn leveling and I raked out bark, and this is from this all-purpose organic blend, the topsoil. This is all the bark I pulled out, and I had extra seed that was sitting in here. Everything was just laying like this, and there was just enough moisture, and I don't know if you can see it very well. It germinated. So if you really wanted to, you could plant this right now, no problem. But that's all it needs, is just a little bit of moisture and a little bit of organic matter. And this stuff, it decomposes, but you'll get fungus if you leave like some of these bigger pieces of this mulch and stuff on your property, on your lawn. You don't want that. All right. Well, now you know everything about how I make my soil mixes and pretty much how I make my top dressing, what I use for top dressing the potting soil. I also use silica sometimes. I don't use sand for that. I just use straight silica. Also, when I'm top dressing, I use a spreader, and then I also use this right here. So I'll give two examples of how I use this when I'm top dressing, and then of course I'll go grab that spreader that I use. And then I have two more products I want to show you over here. So VEVOR backpack sprayer. I picked this up. I cut the wand off and added on this. Game changer. This thing's awesome now. I was about to send this back, but that right there, that's all you need. Get one of those, put it on your sprayer. It was super easy. All I did was just cut it and stick it in. I could have even gotten one of the, like a quick release or something. I might still do that. Thing's awesome now. So here's some products that I recommend that you get or that you use. I'll leave links for these. This one is just straight liquid nitrogen. This one's by Greene County Fertilizer. It's really, really good stuff. It's a 2800. I always use this when I'm seeding, especially if I'm overseeding and I already have a nice established lawn going, right? This is gonna wake up your grass, especially in the springtime. You need lots of nitrogen. This is really good stuff. Another really good product is by this, what is it? Ecolab, something like that. I'll also leave a thing in the description for this below as well. This one right here, Bio MP, This is a soil additive. This is kind of like a liquid soil amendment. You can see the different layers. You got your grass, looks like some hard packed clay right there. But anyways, this combines molasses with your NPK and micronutrients to provide benefits to both soils and plants. The molasses stimulates soil biological activity by providing a high carbohydrate food source for soil microbes, while the macro and micronutrients improve overall plant vigor and color. So this is really good stuff. You put this down along with some humic acid and you're going to get some crazy activity. You're probably going to see some mushrooms growing, which is a good sign. You're going to get a lot of earthworms. And this stuff is basically the liquid version of what this is. This stuff by the Andersons. This is Dirt Booster. Dirt Booster Plus. This stuff is absolutely amazing. It smells amazing. I've used it for 5 seasons now. This stuff is great. And see, it'd tell you it's best if used with the manure compost, which is basically all these other bags. And you just sprinkle that stuff in and you just keep working and, you know, shoveling your pile of compost with this stuff mixed in. The soil becomes alive. It actually starts to give off like steam, smoke, and that's all the microbial action that's happening. This will also help with dethatching. If you got a lot of thatch in your grass, this is going to make those microbes are going to feed and they're going to break down stuff, and it's going to just make your overall yard grow a lot better. All of your grass in your yard will thrive when you use stuff like this. And of course, you get your micronutrients in it. We will spray that later, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix up what I'm going to top dress with. I'm going to grab my spreader. I'm going to show you how I mix. The one that I generally do when I top dress in my yard, I'm going to show you. We'll be doing a top dress mix, not a leveling mix, just a top dress mix today. I'm going to cut my yard low back here. I'm not even going to edge the sides and stuff. I'm just going to cut my yard low, and then I'm going to spread, and then I'm going to add my 2 products here that I just showed you, the nitrogen and all that, and I'll fix some bald spots, of course, too, and show you how to do that with the potting soil. And then after we get done with all of that, and I spray everything with the products, we'll go ahead and irrigate and we'll be done. And you'll see here in a couple of days how awesome it's going to look back here. It already looks amazing. Everything's starting to really wake up back here. My soil temperature is actually still at only 57 degrees Fahrenheit. So, but we've got much warmer weather in the forecast right now. Let me go get that spreader, grab that spreader real quick. Yeah, and then the first thing I'm gonna do is, like I was saying, is I'm gonna cut the grass low, and I'll show you the mix, the top dress mix that we're doing. So I'm gonna take some of this potting soil, and put it right in here. Now the first thing, I'm not going to pour a bunch out because I'm just showing you how I mix. So let's say that this is 80% organic matter right here, right? Now this one I'm seeing little tiny wood chips, so we're good. I could get away with just putting this down if I want to. Now, typically, if I was leveling, this would be my topsoil and a little bit of this, the compost or potting soil, whatever you want to use. Mix that with 20% sand or silica or 30%. And you saw that chart, so you can determine how much you need to add into this. So if I was adding sand to this, I would add just a little bit, about 20%, like my hand's worth, maybe a little less to this, and I would just mix it up, right? That's it. That's all I'm top dressing with. It's that easy. And then just follow that chart for the leveling so that you get the exact mix that you want. Play sand, silica, whatever, it's fine. Just don't make sure that that's majority of what you have. You want at least 70, 80% organic matter. Otherwise, you're gonna have compaction issues. And there's a bazillion videos of people on YouTube and TikTok and like all these different platforms where they're spreading sand all over their yard. Don't do that. I'm telling you, don't do it. You see the soil profile and something like that, I guarantee you there's even less sand at a golf course than what some of these people have been putting on their yards. So I don't recommend it. It's not a good idea. They have like the perfect drainage set up. They have the best drainage set up. And if they don't, then they're working on it, right? They're doing something over there. They're aerating constantly, or, you know, if you want to take care of your yard like that, where you're out there consistently working on it, then feel free to throw sand all over your yard. But that's basically what you're going to end up doing to yourself, is you're going to have a lot of work that's going to need to be done. And if you are into stuff like that, then I would recommend bent grass, and maybe you try doing like a putting green or something like that, where a huge amount of sand is needed, right? In your backyard and stuff, organic matter, 70-80%. And then of course, mix it with sand, silica, whatever. My mix right here, the reason I was going to show you how I top dress is I'll be using this potting mix. I like the way it looks. It's got a nice topsoily look to it. Yeah, it's got some wood chips, but it doesn't mow out. I'm going to mix this with just a little bit of this humichar, right? And then I'm going to mix in a little bit of Dirt Booster Plus. I have a bag that's already open in the garage, so I'll grab that. But I'll just be mixing those up, and then I'll take this, put it in some in the here to give you an example. That's it. And then we'll just be spreading it all over the yard after I cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and mow the yard right now. I gotta get some chicken on this smoker, so looking forward to that too. I'm gonna go ahead and mow real quick, and then we'll get to top dressing. All right, well, just finished mowing. As you can see, I mowed it pretty low. The lower, the better. The organic matter will get down to where it needs to get better when you're top dressing. And then if you're leveling, if you got a real mower, I would get that out after you go lowest on your rotary mower. You want to go as low as possible. The seed, the soil contact, especially when you're doing like fixing holes. I'm going to show you how to fix the hole right now. You just take a little bit of some topsoil or some potting soil, and you're just going to take a little bit of it, right? Take a rake. You don't even need one this big, but you're just going to rake back, right? Like that. You can use a little hand one, it makes it easier. But you're just going to rake back. You'll see my clay, my nice, beautiful clay soil that we have here. And then what we're going to do is take your seed, and with this one, sprinkle just a little bit like that. Just like that. Press it down a little bit, right? So I get the good seed, the soil contact. Do that. And then we're just going to take a little bit of this, right? And all I've put in this was some humichar. That's it. You can add the Dirt Booster Plus if you want to. I'll be adding a little bit when we go over the whole yard. That's it. That's how you fix a low spot, or a bald spot, or a pea spot, or whatever. That's all it is. You can use mushroom compost too, but just make sure that you get the good seed to soil contact. You put enough seed down, and then you cover it with organic matter. And now it's going to grow up just like if you were planting something, right? Planting any type of seed. You wouldn't just throw a bunch of seed on top of the soil. It's still going to take, but the birds and everything else, the wind, people running around, kids, whatever, your dog, everything's going to disturb it. Now it's safe down in there, and it'll get sprayed and it'll get watered. But that's how you fix those. Pretty easy, right? So now I'm going to put some of this, add a little dirt booster to it, and we're going to put it in the spreader, and I'm going to go across the backyard with it. And yeah, let's go. I've just been seeing a lot more wood chips lately in this stuff. I don't know what's going on, if they're just doing it as filler or something. Check it out, look how good it looks. So I got it rolled out. There's a little bit of wood chips and, you know, just in like spots, but I can just take a rake and rake it back, or just mow in 2 days and all those wood chips will be gone. But I mean, it's very minimal. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix the two products I showed you. We got the In Charge, the straight up nitrogen, liquid nitrogen right there. And then of course we got this good one right here, the Bio MP. And I think on this one right here, if I remember correctly, this one takes 16 to 24 ounces per 1,000 square foot every 4 to 6 weeks when your turf's actively growing. So we'll be doing that. And then this one is probably a little bit less, 6 to 15 ounces diluted. We'll be doing 2 gallons of water, and then I'll be doing the minimum on this and the minimum on this one as well. I think that's pretty much it for today. I'm just going to get this watered in and end the video here. Hopefully now you have an understanding of how I do my leveling mixes, and if I'm just top dressing some of the stuff that I use. You can use Humichar, you can use Dirt Booster. Those are recommended in the spreader. And of course, as long as it's fine enough, like silica, sand, and you know, anything topsoil wise, you can put in the spreader as long as it's more kind of like potting soil. Now, like I was telling you, the stuff I've been getting a lot lately has had a lot of wood chips in it. So I got to go get that Stog Green one, and hopefully that fixes that problem. Hopefully. But everything else is looking good. And just remember that you always want to do around like a 70 to 80% organic matter, and then the rest, whatever you want, play sand, silica. Make sure if you use play sand, you put it in the bucket, let it dry out. That'll save you a lot. It won't compact up either on you when you're mixing it. And if you're just top dressing, the least amount of stuff you mix together, the better, honestly. This is going to turn out great. It already looks really good. Now we just got to get it watered in. Hopefully some of these tenacity spots and pea spots or whatever they are over there, they go away. But I think everything looks pretty good. If you've got any comments, questions, or anything like that, leave them down in the comments below. That's it. Hopefully this helps you when you're leveling, and depending on what type of soil you have, and when you're top dressing. Like, subscribe, do what you do. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.